These strikes off the coast of Venezuela, nothing to do with drug importation into the United States.
I disagree. Those drugs do go all over the hemisphere. They also go to Europe. They go all over the world.
They go to Europe.
Here's the deal.
They're not coming to the United States.
Scott Jennings absolutely torches Ana Navarro after she dismisses Trump's strikes on Venezuelan narco-traffickers as irrelevant to U.S. drug deaths. Let's get into it.
These strikes off the coast of Venezuela, nothing to do with drug importation into the United States.
I disagree. Those drugs do go all over the hemisphere. They also go to Europe. They go all over the world.
They go to Europe.
Here's the deal.
They're not coming to the United States.
And there's a larger issue here, which is that Trump has long promised, he did it during his first term, he did it during his campaign, a more muscular response from the federal government to the scourge of drugs in our own hemisphere. The national security strategy, police our own hemisphere. You and I are in agreement. Maduro was a thug. He is a crime lord. He is a terrible person, and he does need to go. It's in our own backyard. If we do not police it, who will? Not to mention the fact that you made the case. Fentanyl does cause deaths, but there are other drugs that cause massive harm to thousands of American families. If we are not going to clean up the Western Hemisphere, who will?
That's a great question. If Trump doesn't do it, then who will? Are we supposed to just turn the blind eye and let this abuse continue? I think not. I love how offended people like Anna get when Trump actually does what he says he's going to do. And is he not just doing what Biden suggested America do back in 1989?
For the first time, we are fighting and losing a war on our own soil. Let's go after the drug lords where they live with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
So Joe Biden openly argued that the United States needed to take the fight directly to the drug lords and strike narco boats where they operate in order for America to make it clear that there would be no safe haven for narco-terrorists. Now let's fast forward to today, and all of a sudden that same idea is considered reckless or extreme. We all know the only reason it's considered to be that way is because of who's doing it. You see how the standard changes depending on who's in power? You just saw for yourself. This strategy was once considered reasonable.
You think Donald Trump is going to get graded as one of the greatest presidents of all time? I'm going to begin to wonder if you're smoking crack.
What's the coincidence that Anna would bring up crack, which is in fact a derivative of cocaine? And what kind of drugs are on those boats? Exactly. So once again, I'm left with no choice but to take you back in time to where her favorite president, who at the time was senator, helped approve the death penalty for major drug traffickers, all in the name of fighting drugs.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've gone from there all the way up to saying, under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself as well, and others, the presiding officer, that there is now a death penalty. And we passed it a couple years ago. If you are a major drug dealer involved in the trafficking of drugs and murder results in your activities, you go to death.
Love it or hate it, he is the most consequential political force in the modern era. He is the strongest party boss either party has ever seen. He got more votes each time he appeared on the ballot. He has people that will only vote for him. Now, that's something Obama had as well. He had people that would only vote for him. That puts you in a different realm. I mean, when you're that kind of and two-term presidents often have this, but you cannot deny, he is the most consequential political force of the modern era of either party.
I don't want to deny that because
Anna's behavior is a perfect example of the modern left. She states her opinions as fact, and like most Democratic talking points, it fell apart the moment it was challenged. And I'm not really surprised that Scott Jennings did exactly what needed to be done, although I don't think she was expecting him to question the premise. Anna obviously believes that if these drug boats aren't headed to the U.S., then we shouldn't care. But I have a question. How does she know where they're going? Does she have access to classified intelligence? Or is she reviewing naval intercept data? No, of course not. This is just another example of how the left states speculation as fact just because it fits their preferred narrative. And why would the destination make drug trafficking acceptable? And did you see how she shifted her argument? First, she claimed that these operations had nothing to do with drugs at all. And then when that became indefensible, she tried to spin it, claiming that the drugs were going to Europe. So now she's no longer debating whether drugs are on the boats, but debating its final destination. That alone tells you everything you need to know. And doesn't it seem like the people who keep insisting we don't know what's on these boats are always the same people who are confidently declaring that fentanyl is not on the boats? So which is it? Because one minute they don't know what's on the boats, and the next minute they do. You can't have it both ways. At the end of the day, I feel like her entire argument just ignores basic reality. What's important is stopping these drug networks at the source. Like Scott said, if we don't disrupt traffic routes in our hemisphere, the problem is not just going to disappear, but shift. But I get it. I know why she's so adamant in defending criminals, because public safety has never been the left's priority. Just look at the cities and states they run. Chicago, Baltimore, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Minneapolis. The list could go on. A blind man can see that Democrat policies have turned these places into showcases of disorder, crime, and open-air drug markets. And yet, these are the same people who want to lecture the country about restraint when it comes to stopping international drug traffickers. It is sickening to me how they express so much concern over the safety of Venezuelan drug runners, while at the same time, American families that are being destroyed by drug addiction aren't even acknowledged. No, those incidents are treated as unfortunate side effects, not moral imperatives. They ignore the reality that every single one of those deaths is relevant to drug trafficking. Every overdose traces back to those networks in some way. But somehow, cartel operatives get more sympathy than the victims of their product. And then there's the political hypocrisy. Joe Biden openly supported anti-drug measures in the past. He even helped advance legislation that imposed harsh penalties and mandatory minimums, which disproportionately impacts minority communities. But at the same time, Democrats have a problem criticizing Trump for taking action against these cartels. It's like all of a sudden, aggressive anti-drug measures are framed as reckless, illegal, and immoral. The contradiction is obvious. When it's Biden, it's foreign policy. But when Trump targets drug networks, they want to label it a war crime. Nothing has changed except who gets the credit. And we all know the Democrats can't give Trump credit for anything. It's not even about policy, but about who's enforcing it. But the reality is, many of the things Trump is doing are the very same things the Democrats once said needed to be done. And instead of acknowledging that, they oppose his every action and label every policy as extreme. All of a sudden, normal enforcement is treated as criminal behavior. And that's the real issue here. It's almost like stopping drug flow doesn't matter to them. Protecting communities doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is opposing Trump at all costs.